Beyond the veil of mist, where the ocean whispers forgotten names, a light beacons, not to guide, but to devour. Step into the darkness if you dare. Welcome to the Lighthouse of Lost Souls.
This is a tale of a desolate, infamous lighthouse on an island off the coast of Tanzania, known locally as Island of Souls. The fishermen of Dar es Salaam speak of this lighthouse not as a guide for ships, but as a beacon of a terrifying curse. The keeper, Zena, they whisper, is the witch of the haunted coast. This is the horrifying truth of a deep-sea legend. Zena was a solitary, mysterious woman who resided on the island. Her eyes were as black as the deep sea, and her smile was as cold as a venomous serpent's. She didn't maintain the lighthouse to save ships from sea monsters. She tended it to lure them to their doom. The lighthouse's light was not fueled by oil, but by the despair of lost souls, siphoned from the shipwrecks that were drawn to her sinister call. Tonight, a storm, the locals called a storm of darkness, raged like a monstrous beast, and Zena's heart thrummed with malevolent anticipation. She knew the ancient depths were answering her summons. The fog that rolled in was not a cool mist, but a thick, putrid vapor. It smelled of rotting plants and foul swamps, rising from depths where sunlight never reached. Within its swirling embrace, Zena saw immense, gelatinous creatures moving in the waves, their eyes glowing like embers in the inky blackness. These were the creatures of darkness, ancient horrors from Tanzanian folklore. A new sound joined the storm's roar, a wet, scraping noise against the lighthouse's foundation. Zena was not frightened. She was calm and satisfied. She knew the creatures had arrived at her door. She descended the stone staircase, and with each step, the air grew colder and a strange, rotting odor filled the tower. At the base of the lighthouse, the scraping sounds became frantic. Through a crack in the warped wooden door, Zena saw long, ghastly shapes moving in the fog. These were the smaller minions of the abyss. Suddenly, with a loud crash, a part of the door splintered inward. A dry, pale hand with long, black talons punched through the wood. Its skin was cold and clammy, like a corpse dragged from a watery grave. A deep, guttural roar echoed from outside, a sound of hunger and unending cold that promised only oblivion. The unholy feast, Zena did not flinch. A wicked smile stretched across her lips. This was her communion, her dark sacrament. The door finally gave way, and a tide of monstrous forms flooded the tower. They were not the giant creatures of darkness, but their smaller, horrific kin. Their bodies were gaunt and bony, their eyes hollow pits that swallowed all light, reflecting only a chilling emptiness. Zena raised her arms, holding a ritual knife made of bone and sea kelp. Her laughter echoed through the tower, a sound of madness and triumph. She chanted an incantation, and as the words filled the air, the creatures did not attack her. Instead, they turned on each other, a ravenous, unholy frenzy consuming them. The sounds that followed were gruesome. The wet tearing of flesh, the sickening crunch of bones, and gurgling screams that would curdle the blood of any sane person. Zena watched with a feverish intensity, feeding on the carnage, her own power growing with each horrific act. As the night wore on, a chilling change came over Zena. Her skin grew pale and translucent, revealing a terrifying network of black veins beneath. Her fingers elongated into razor-sharp talons, and her teeth sharpened into predatory points. Her eyes widened, the pupils dilating into black voids that seemed to swallow all light and hope. She was no longer just a keeper of darkness. She was becoming darkness itself, a living embodiment of the abyss. When the first sickly rays of dawn pierced the dissipating fog, a terrifying scene was revealed. The lighthouse was encrusted with the grotesque remains of the creatures, their mutilated bodies clinging to the stone like nightmarish barnacles. Inside the lantern room, where a guiding light should have shone, there was now a pulsating, sickly green glow that seemed to writhe and twist with a malevolent life of its own. From that day on, no fisherman or sailor dared approach the Island of Souls. They knew the lighthouse was no longer a guide, but a home for a curse beyond human comprehension. When a storm rages, they still see that chilling green light and hear a terrifying, echoing laugh carried on the wind, a blend of Zena's madness and the primal roars of the creatures of darkness, calling out for new guests to join their eternal, unholy feast.